Misrepresentation. What do I mean by that? Claiming to be something that you are not. I want to let you know that I know politics and religion are very sacred, supposedly, topics. And I understand why they are. Do you know that the church was supposed to be the head in society? The church and what it stands for, and when it talks about the religions, was supposed to be for the people, to serve the people. But how in the world can you serve the people when you write paper bowls telling people like the Spaniards, the French, to go enslave people? Before the military, they always sent the emissaries, and they mostly were priests, to teach the people the language, their language, to tell the people that they lived, inhumanely, tribal, indigenous, when they wanted to civilize them. Now, if you know anything about conquest, you will know that the worst people in the world, to give an example of civilization, would be the Europeans, okay? And maybe the Arabs too, since what they did, you talk about what Hitler did, but what they did to the indigenous people of Africa and all over the world was a tenth of what Hitler could do. See how many millions of people that they destroyed, and they worked for nothing to build up civilization so that they could be the head and you could be the tail. Now let me get back to what I really wanted to talk about. See, the church is supposed to be the leaders in the society. They lead their flock, okay? But when you're at your worst, and I'm talking about the U.S. now and all over the world, where are your clergymen? Where are your ministers, your priests, your popes, and all of that? Do you condone this? And do you misrepresent your positions? Because I have not seen anybody affiliated with the church that is poor. The only thing I've seen is poor people in the pews, and I'm not talking about poor financially. I'm talking about poor when you think about looking at information that somebody's teaching you and you can't really see it, but you believe it anyway because somebody told you, and from your mama and all back in the day, you believe that you're supposed to be in church doing the things that they tell you to do, but your life has not got better. See, the days of ministers and people of the church leading the society seem to be over. So I'm asking you, are you misrepresenting yourself? Where is your leadership? When your people need you the most, where are you? We have almost World War III coming from all sides, because we have foolish leaders. And not only do we have foolish leaders, we have foolish men in foolish positions. You see, when somebody changes something from Department of Defense or whatever to the Department of War or Secretary of War or anything like that, they're already telling you what they're about. They're not about peace. And they're not for you because your children, your grandchildren, maybe even you, if you're old enough, will be the ones fighting. Rich people think it's really a poor man's fight. You fight for what we tell you to fight. Now, getting back, talking about legislators, judicial people, they misrepresent themselves because they tell us you see, and you talk about the Bible, but people put their hands on the Bible and swear by the Bible every day that don't believe in it, and they represent us, they misrepresent us, and you don't say nothing. There's no leaders. You can't even lead your family. Now, when I say things, it's not 100% everybody. But look at the condition of the world. Look what happens to countries, cities, people when they try to live their life without being controlled by the people who control everything. And they're sitting in the back behind the curtain, trillionaires, maybe even whatever. They got so much money, they just make phone calls. But misrepresentation, when I talk about the government, when I talk about the church, don't get angry at me. Just why don't we pay attention to what they're doing for us or what they're doing to us? Okay? Because I believe in what I see, and I believe in my spirit, which I think and I feel and I know comes from a higher source. What that source is a mystery because I have not seen it. I don't know nobody else who's seen it. All I know is there's a lot of suggestions and a lot of things that they have put down on paper that we believe that aren't true. We act like we can understand English. Back in the day when it was written in Latin. Why? Because they didn't want the common folks to know what it was saying. And the only book that they allowed slaves to read, when they allowed them to read, was the Bible. And you got to ask yourself, why is that? Because when that master picked a minister to be over the flock or over the slaves, he said what that master wanted him to say. The Bible has all types of sayings in it. And there's some that support slavery and the misuse of people, especially some darker people, because what they've done is misrepresent. I am here to tell you, not only have the church failed, the government failed, we have failed. We are so many hundreds of million people with maybe a handful of people directing us like a big ship. They're the rudder and we the ship. We do all the work, we pay all the dues, we act like we don't see what's going on. And sometimes, we act like we have a chain around our brain. We ought to all work together. We're supposed to love one another, but we know that's impossible because the people that make it so hard for people, especially people of color, to come together to do something united.